Welcome to Daryl's Beekeeping Videos. I'm a master beekeeper, and today's lesson is on how to crosswire a frame. The reason that you want to crosswire a frame is if you are intending to extract honey. If you don't crosswire the frame, what could happen is that as the honey is being extracted, it could cause the comb to blow out from the side of the frame. Also, if you're improperly handling a brood frame and you turn it horizontally, if it's not supported with support wires, what could happen is that the comb and brood could fall out of the frame. So things that you will need for this will be the frame that you intend to crosswire. We're doing this prior to installing the foundation in it. This is one of the first steps after assembling it, the frame. So I need the frame. So in this case, I've got a deep frame which has 4 holes on it. It could be a medium or a shallow frame, doesn't matter. You will need some type of crimper to crimp the wire. Since we are crimping metal wire, I've got a separate video on how to cross wire with fishing line. If you use that technique, you do not need crimpers. This is just an additional step. If you're crimping metal wire, most likely when you go to your local bee store, they're going to have these plastic crimpers. My personal experience with these, they're okay to use, but they don't last that long. This red one I bought from my local bee supplier lasted literally one frame. That's all it did, and it broke on me. So what I found are these wooden handle crimpers you can get on Amazon for less than $15. I bought this one for about $5 probably 5 years ago, so I've had good experience with those. Next, you will need some type of tack hammer. This is a Pittsburgh 7-ounce hammer that you can get from Harbor Freight. The reason I like this hammer because it has the longer head and it could get into the tight corners whenever I'm inserting foundation, or if I'm tacking up the frame as I'm doing here about to for crosswire. I like this longer head. The next thing that you will need is you will need some kind of diagonal wire cutters. I'll have a final picture, a larger picture for you to see these at a close-up in the final version of my video. Next thing that you will need is you will need some type of grommet tool. You can get this from your local bee store. Again, that's all it is. It has a little nipple to insert into the brass grommets, or they are also called eyelets. And again, I'll have a photo. I know you can't see it from the video there. It's too far away. So I'm going to insert these into the end bar to help keep the wire from digging into my frame. When you get these from your local bee store, they are made out of steel and they can and will rust fairly quickly. So when you first get it, you're going to want to clean this up with light sandpaper, and then from there I highly encourage you to take and dip this in a product called Plasti Dip, P-L-A-S-T-I dip. And what it is you dip the tool down into it a couple times and it puts a plastic coating over it, and that helps keep it from rusting. You're not going to put it on the very tip of it, so that's the only place you need to worry about, and it doesn't rust enough to worry about. All right, the next thing that you will need is you will need, again, these eyelets that come in either brass or aluminum. Either are acceptable. You'll need one for each hole if you are using wire. The next thing you will need is you'll need the wire, the metal wire you're going to cross wire your frame with. Get this wire from your local bee store because it will be the right type of wire, right dimension, and it won't rust on you. So get this wire from them. It comes on a spool. It's fairly inexpensive. Then from there, you can either spool it out by hand, or I highly encourage you to make one of these little payout jigs. They're really simple to make. That's all it is a 2x4 and then a smaller piece of 2x4 that has a 45-degree cut on it that provides tension on this spool as it's paying it out, and it goes to rest on it. It keeps it from back spooling the wire a little bit. And it's all it is a 5/8 inch bolt goes through it just to act as an axle. And then I have a screw eye that I can feed the line through, and then I've got a screw up on top that I can wrap the wire around just to keep it from spooling out on its own. All right, from there, An optional step, which I always do with all my frames that I intend to wire, is I take a cordless drill. If you have a power drill, that's fine. But then you use a 1/8 inch drill bit, and you want to clean out all these holes in the end bar. And the reason for that is when the manufacturers make it, they are not very careful when they drill these holes out, and a lot of times you'll see a lot of wood debris in those holes, and it makes it hard to fish the line through there, especially if you're using fishing line for crosswire. Again, I remember I have a separate video for that. So I'll go ahead and get started now. And then what I didn't say yet is you also need 3/4 inch tacks, or brads as you want to call them. So, all right, first thing I'm going to do is clear out the holes. All right, I'll set my drill aside, clean off the sawdust, and then before I forget, because I've already attempted this video 3 times and I keep forgetting to put the eyelets in. So go ahead and insert the eyelet. You'll see it has a bevel end on one end, kind of a lip. So I want to take that and put it down toward the bottom of the tool. So the smaller end of the eyelet is up. Again, it'll be obvious when you get ready to put it. And then I'm just going to simply twist it in the ends. You'll need one for each hole. Kind of twist it in as you go, and it makes it go in nice and easy. And again, it protects the wood from the wire from cutting into it. And these things are super, super cheap off of your Bee supplier, or you can get it on Amazon. That's where I got mine, I think it was, or one of my, may I take it back, I think I got it from Man Lake. Need one more. And then what I like to do once I get them in there, just make sure it's seated right. I set this, I also have a piece of 3/4 inch plywood down just so I don't tack anything into it. It also gives me a place to put the frame over the edge of it so that this end bar is sitting flush on the wood, and I'm not having to deal with an unwieldy frame. So I've just put the lip of the frame over the edge, and I'm just going to tack these eyelets down just to set them. Flip the frame over. Just that simple. The next thing I want to do is I want to get my 3/4 inch tack, and I want to put at least 2, one on the upper hole and one on the lower hole, but I'm going to offset it from the hole just a little bit so that the tack doesn't go down into the hole. So I see my hole, I just offset it about 1/16 or 1/8 of an inch. I'm going right into the side of the end bar. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to run my wire and then wrap it around the edges. So you can either get away with just 2 of these, or you can run 4 and just wire it twice. I found that if you're running just 2 nails, sometimes it can be a little looser. The wire can be the horizontal wire, but again, it's not that big a deal. The purpose is so that when you're slinging out the honey in your honey extractor, it doesn't blow out the comb. So if it moves 1/4 inch, it's not a big deal. It's not going to blow out, so it's not a big deal. So I now have these tacks in place, and now I'm going to untwist my wire from my screw on top that I had it secured there, keep it from spooling out. And I'm going to fish it from the outside of the frame, through the frame, and to the outside, and then loop it back through, all the way through until it gets to the bottom. All right, so outside to in, inside to the outside of this top hole. And if you're old like me and you need glasses, you can do so. I pull out an arm length at a time. Feed it through. Inside to outside. Now that I'm in the inside of the frame, pull it through, pull it arm's length out, feed it through the next hole down, pull it through, And if it tends to curl on you on the end, you just got to make sure that it's clean and you don't kink the wire, because that can cause a break if you're not careful. So again, I just pull it through, feed it from the inside of the frame to the outside. And you may have to pull it out excess from the top and then just slowly pay it through. And you're just going to, don't worry about it, this wire is cheap, so if you have a lot of excess, not a big deal, you can trim it off. So I'm just paying it through, and then once I got it on this all the way through, I simply bend it over the edge of the end bar, and then I wrap it 3 to 4 times around that tack, and then I nail it down. From there, I go ahead and make sure that the running portion of the, the standing portion of that wire is taut against the side. And then from there, I take the free running end and I clip it off. And be careful which piece you clip off. You may clip off the wrong wire. And I've had to do that and had to rewire it. So make sure you know what you're clipping. Once you do that, then you got that piece of metal sticking up. You want to tack that down to keep from hurting your hands later on. Tack it down. From there, I'm going to back feed the wire. So I'm going to push it down flush against the hole as much as I can, push it 90 degrees into that grommet, pull it through, pull it tight as I can, transfer my hand. I'm going to use my thumb on the outside to apply pressure. I'm just slowly feeding it back through until I get all the way back to my original tack, and then I'm going to wrap it around and secure it. So I'm going to do that. Again, it doesn't have to be all that tight. It's not that big a deal. You're going to crimp it and take some more of that tension out, or make it tighter anyway. So again, it goes fairly quickly. So as I pull it through, again, I'm just bending it over and holding it with a finger or a thumb. The tighter you get it though, the better it is, but it's not critical that it's super, super tight. All right, so once I've got it nice and tight on all the way 4 wires, I just simply wrap it 3 to 4 times. And then from there, I tack it down. From there, I trim it off. Make sure you cut the right wire. From here, you want to go ahead and roll back the excess wire on your payout jig. And then from there, you just wrap it a time or two just to keep it from unspooling on you. Set to the side, you don't need it anymore. From there, again, you got that piece of wire there. You want to still tack that down if you didn't do so already. So now I have, in this case, because it's deep, I've got 4 strands of wires that have not been crimped yet, the little waffles on the wire. So from there, I'm going to find where I tacked it, and then I'm going to go away from my tacks. Here's my 2 tacks, and I'm going to simply, if I remember right, I'm going to pull up. We'll see. So when you grab your crimpers, I'm going to try to do it where you can see it. I've got the edge of the frame over the edge of the 3/4 inch plywood, and then from there, there's a trick to this of when to apply just enough pressure but not over tightening it, over squeezing this. So just enough to where it touches the wire, and then you slowly pull up. Some people will find it easier to go down, that's fine. So I'm just holding the frame and then I'm going to pull up. And then you want to keep your eye on this wire to make sure it's staying inside the roller and then doesn't pop off. If it pops off, no big deal, you can just re-go over top of it. So again, just kind of loosely grab it. Again, just let's see if it goes better down. This is an older set of crimpers, so they binding on me just a smidge. There it goes. Again, it slipped, so I just reset it. Not a big deal. Just go grab it. I haven't wired in probably 3 or 4 years, so these crimpers are a little tight. I'm going to turn it over, see if that helps. It's not me, it's these crimpers. Let me try the plastic ones. That's the same issue. There it goes. Again, these plastic ones tend to break, so I don't use them. with a brand new pair of rollers, it goes quickly and doesn't fight you like this. There it goes. There it goes. So if that happens to you, again, older ones, I probably could have lubed these up a little bit, but I didn't want to introduce any smells into my frame that I don't need to. So again, you just work with it until it starts working. Not a big deal. Honest video here, you see the bloopers. But again, once it starts loosening up, and again, you learn the trick of how much tension to play, to squeeze on this, you'll see it works fine. Again, you can always go back over it. And then from there, you can see it's fairly tight. I've got a couple straight sections on here. I'm going to tighten this wire up just a smidge more. And now you can see that it's on there. It's crimped. Again, the whole purpose of doing the crimp wire is to put a little extra tension on this wire. It's not that big a deal if it's a little loose. It's not going to sway that much. And that's all there is to cross wiring it. I've got a separate video on how to install foundation in that, and also how to embed the horizontal wires. Now that you've got them crimped, now you got to install your foundation, and then you've got to embed the wire in the foundation. If you have fishing line, you can't embed it in it. It doesn't work, it won't stay down, but metal wire generally stays in it when you embed it in the wire. Again, separate video. Appreciate your time watching the video, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.